It is just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Lorin Berland, DDS, my buddy for 30 years. He's an internationally acclaimed cosmetic dentist and one of the most published authors on clinical dentistry and dental education, with over 100 articles, best-selling books, and instructional videos, including the Lorin Library Smile Guide. Dr. Berland has made a lasting impact on dentistry. Over the course of his distinguished career, Lorin was the first fellow of the AACD. Oh my God, that's so cool. Was included in the top 100 CE leaders for over 19 consecutive years, and was even recognized by the AACD for outstanding contributions to the art and science of cosmetic dentistry. Dr. Berland is credited with pioneering the concept of spa dentistry, and his unique approach has been featured in major national print and TV publications such as 2020, Time, Town & Country, Reader's Digest, GQ, which, you know, I've been on the cover several times. I'm also an underwear model. Dr. B began his career as a denture technician, and after more than 35 years of listening to patients and running a multi-specialty practice, he retired to start Dr. B Dental Solutions, a new company with a full line of products specifically designed to treat the common and serious issues affecting the daily lives of people with oral appliances like oral infections and dry mouth, which are not addressed by major brands. His website, drbdentalsolutions.com, is also a great source of useful information on oral appliances and hygiene tips for patients. I've been trying to get you on the show for 1,000 days, and you finally graced everyone with your appearance. Thank you so much for finally coming on the show. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Are you still in Dallas?
I'm still in Dallas, but I'm not practicing, and I'm running this new company.
But I'm
still involved in dentistry.
But you're still an Arizona Cardinals football fan. You never have gone to the dark side in support of the evil Cowboys. Am I correct?
Of course. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
But
I'm going to have to move if I said that.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a question. You know, when we were growing up, the Cowboys were America's team. But now, would that be the Patriots? You know, do you think the Cowboys? Who do you think is America's team now? It was always the Cowboys. But do you think now it's the Patriots?
Well, the Patriots sound good. You know, as an American team, it's patriotic.
Oh my God!
But you know, I'm not a huge sports fan. You know, they kind of come and go. They had different athletes.
Right. I called you to be on the show because I want to hear about your journey and how is drbdentalsolutions.com doing?
Okay, well, the Cleanodent crystals are the only soap cleanser that instantly kills strep, staph, candida, and actinomyces. And those are the major causes of oral thrush and pneumonia and ankylochelosis and denture stomatitis. And nobody's really talking about that. And, you know, especially among denture wearers, this is a big problem. Denture wearers are way more likely to have diabetes. If you have diabetes, you're way more likely to have candida. And if you sleep in your dentures, you're even more prone to having candida, oral thrush, and pneumonia. And these are serious problems. So that product has done really well. And then we launched 2 new products a few months ago, a new denture adhesive, Adhesident, to treat dry mouth. And it has aloe vera and vitamins A, D, and E. And it's more retentive than the competition. It has a new copolymer. And then we have a brand new product that there's nothing else like it. It's Cleanodent Paste. And it's the first paste that actually cleans the gums and cleans the denture. And that's very important to denture wearers. In fact, the ADA sent out an announcement a few months ago saying denture wearers need to take very good care of their gums, cleaning them regularly. And the Cleanodent Paste, because it has aloe vera, tea tree oil, and coconut oil and vitamins A, D, and E, while it cleans the mouth and cleans the denture, it also treats dry mouth, same as Adhesident. So they're kind of revolutionary products.
Well, you know, you remind me so much of Bob Ibsen. He was a dentist in Southern California, and when he saw all the toothpaste companies doling his composites, he started Rembrandt. And it was really counterintuitive because he said the less abrasive the toothpaste was, the more it dulled the luster. So you made a Rembrandt. I forgot what the active ingredient is, but it was a harder abrasive that actually polished the abrasive. But you'd have to be a dentist to be sitting there watching this. And those big corporations, they probably are staffed by a lot of MBAs and not a lot of dentists who are actually on the front lines. So some of the greatest B2C products ever made were from dentists in the trenches on the front line of dentistry.
Well, that's because we're seeing our patients and listening to our patients. The denture adhesive I came up with because patients were always saying denture adhesive is like a necessary evil. They hate denture adhesive. It's yucky. It makes their mouth dry. So they said, why don't you come up with something that cleans up easy and doesn't taste so bad? And so that's why I came up with the Adhesident. And then I went a step further and I wanted to make it treat dry mouth, because almost every denture wearer out there, for various reasons, whether it's medications, age, habits, they all have dry mouth. And that also affects the retention of the denture. Dry mouth is not good for denture retention. And the Cleanodent paste, when you talk about Bob Ibsen and coming up with Rembrandt toothpaste to be non-abrasive, the Cleanodent paste, I first came up with it because patients were always telling me they want to get the denture adhesive off of their gums and off of their denture. And they'd say, you should come up with a paste that would make that easy to do. So I came up with this very, very, like almost no abrasive toothpaste. And I use the term loosely, toothpaste, to clean the gums and clean the denture. And then I wanted to also treat dry mouth and moisturize. And while I was developing it about 8 years ago, we started doing all-on-4, fixed implant bridges. And, they're all dentures. Now they're doing more zirconium, but certainly the first step is virtually always acrylic. And, I noticed, and I should have known better because as a denture tech, but, we all make mistakes. The first couple I did, I had very fussy patients, and they'd come back with the follow-ups, and they say, my teeth don't look so clean. They're not as shiny as when you put them in. And then I realized, well, what have you been brushing your teeth, your new teeth with? And they go, oh, I've been using, Crest or Colgate or something. And all the toothpastes are too abrasive. And when they're too abrasive, they cause more scratches. So I started giving them the paste that I was giving to my denture wearers. And sure enough, I didn't see the wear in future cases. And they all loved it because it's made to clean prosthetics, not teeth, and it moisturized their mouth. And by the way, I'm really honored that you would even think of comparing me to Dr. Ibsen. I mean, he was a giant in dentistry.
Well, you're a giant in dentistry. You are a giant in dentistry. I've listened to you lecture for 30 years. I mean, I've been a big fan of yours. But, the all-on-4, I have very mixed feeling because it's so American to just, abuse yourself for 10, 20, 30 years, and if you have enough money, you just get it fixed. But, these people getting all-on-4s, they're not yoga instructors. They're not vegans. They're not people who are addicted to yogurt. I mean, they're people who didn't brush, floss. They probably drank a lot, smoked a lot. And I see so much more success when they put 4 implants in there with a ball and a zest anchor. And over to a snap-on, because then Grandpa can go snap that out and rinse it with Budweiser beer and brush it and clean up. But they come to my office with an all-on-4, and I mean, there's an entire ham sandwich underneath that thing, and there's peri-implantitis. At 5 years, 20% have peri-implantitis, and between 6 and 9 years, or at 9 years, it's between 40 and 60% peri-implantitis. So the bottom line is, they're hard to clean.
Very hard to clean. Our Cleanodent paste will clean the denture or the fixed implant bridge, but to get underneath it, you've got to use Superfloss, you've got to use water picks, and I agree with you. I mean, there's a reason why these people are all on 4s in the first place. I heard a study I read a study several years ago, now that you bring it up, and they were taking a poll of people who had both overdentures and fixed implant bridges, the all-on-4, and they really, because you got to have both to really know the difference, and it was mixed. It was pretty much 50-50 who preferred the fixed and who preferred to take it out and clean it. I think that we're going to see a lot of changes in the all-on-4 technology. We're seeing a lot of changes right now, because right now the whole idea of having to drill out, the composite and unscrew them and then clean it and then put them back in, there's going to be problems with that. And maybe they are oversold. But as far as it, being an American concept, you got to remember the all-on-4 came from Dr. Malo in Portugal.
That's right, Lisbon, Portugal. I podcasted him. He was an amazing man. But you don't change people's behavior. I mean, when a 50-year-old man walks into you and he's been drinking and smoking, and that's just the Irish and the Russians, they're not changing their behavior. And I was really excited about Waterpik because listening to my patients, why no one likes their water picks, because it makes a mess in the bathroom. So you got to get it out, you got to plug it in, you got to add water, then you got your ham sandwich all over your mirror. And now they just came out with a portable, which you can take in the shower, because what I always use was a shower floss, where you just unscrew the shower head, put it in there, because then when you're flossing in the shower, who cares what's flying around? I mean, hell, you're standing there peeing in the drain. What difference does it make where all your water floss is going? So I just think that's if they're going to do it all-on-4, they have to have a flossing device, a water flossing device in their shower, and I think that's a must. But tell me your business model. You're in Dallas, where Shark Tank, Mark Cuban there, who owns the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, is this a B2C? Are you going to distribute it at Walmart and Costco or through dental office? Explain to me your business plan as if you're on Shark Tank, and I'll be Mr. Wonderful since I'm bald.
Okay. Well, we're kind of learning as we go. It's a family business. My son, he was working for Citibank in New York. He quit this summer. I asked him to quit to help me launch this. And it's just the two of us, and we're really learning as we go. First, I wanted to get it to the dentists. So our major marketing has been giving a lot of our dental solutions to dentists. And we're hoping that they will give them out to their patients with appropriate treatments, samples, as well as instructional handouts. And we also include coupons for 30% discounts on different products and stuff like that. We just started marketing online, and hopefully we'll get in stores. Things will grow. But we're learning.
Well, you just said something. So let me tell you what Shark Tank would say. Mr. Wonderful would say, just get the proprietary intellectual property and then go to the majors and have them do it all, and you take a royalty. So that's what Mr. Wonderful always does every time. He just wants, what can you do to get intellectual propriety? Can you patent anything you've done? Is there any protective moat with intellectual property or on any of your products today?
Well, yeah, we have patents on everything.
Oh my gosh! So Mr. Wonderful would say, "Stop! I'm gonna negotiate. I'm gonna go to P&G, Colgate, Crest, whatever. Do that." Mark Cuban would say that if you keep the whole thing online, you'll have 35% margins. But once you start building a bunch of product, like if Walmart took on your product, well, they have 4,000 locations. You know how much money it would take to stock 4,000 Walmarts with your product. So Cuban would tell you to keep it all online. That's where the profit is. Mr. Wonderful would say, just get the patents, and that's where all the money is, the patents. You don't need to be making anything or distributing anything. So what do you ever watch Shark Tank?
Oh, sure. Of course I do.
So what would you tell those two guys?
Well,
that's what they're going to say. They say the same damn advice on every show. I can't believe people go on the show and say some of the things. Like the dumbest question on Shark Tank says, I'd like to sell 5% of my company. Okay, no sharks. It's not worth anybody's time for 5% of anything. I mean, it's a nickel of every dollar, If you don't give them 20, 30%, they're not even interested. But what would you tell Shark Tank if you were on Shark Tank?
Well, we're just going one step at a time. We're trying to build professional credibility, which we are getting. We're just getting rave reviews from the dental professionals who have tried our products.
And are those reviews online, like at Amazon, or are they on the website Dr.
We just got on Amazon 2 months ago, and it's very tricky. My son is the expert. I'm more the idea guy, and he's the day-to-day operational guy right now. So, as I said, we're starting. I've self-funded everything. I've worked on these products. I mean, I started thinking about them, gosh, in the 70s when I was working in a dental office as a private denture technician. And I really started getting serious about this, in the late 90s. And I mean, I wasn't working full time, but I was playing with it. And, about 18 years of working with different labs and kissing a lot of frogs and trying a lot of different products with my patients, we finally got something that, everybody loved. And, I'm not really into this right now to sell the company or this is our dream. This is a family business right now.
That is so damn
But of
cool.
course, if somebody wanted to come in and offer me $1 gazillion, I'd probably have to think about it.
Our family,
for about a second.
Our family started a family business. We decided that our home is a halfway home, and we started a halfway home, and we're all the members of this home. I think that is just so cool.
It's a bachelor pad. It's a fraternity.
So how are you reach a dentist?
Well, we've been contacting KOLs and friends of mine. And, I've been in dentistry for 35 years, so I know a lot of people. And how are we? We placed an ad in dental journals, and we're getting, those press releases. But mostly we're contacting them and sending them products. And when they try it, as I said, trying it is our best market. Once they try it or their patients try it, they love it. I mean, our crystals have been totally embraced by the sleep community, the sleep doctors. We're just doing really well there. So, to clean their sleep appliances, even to keep the the CPAP inserts.
So, on Dental Town, everyone's allowed to start one promotional thread for themselves. Did you start that on Dental Town?
Oh, I probably abused it.
No, I did a search for Dr. B Dental Solutions, and lots of threads come up. So I hope Dental Town's helping you.
I'm sure it is.
Well, so if you're a lecturer and say you want to keep people up to date with everything you're doing, you can start. Hogo lets everybody have one thread for their lecture. I mean, you're a dentist. I mean, you're not some guy from Colgate. You're a dentist, and you're a huge town. I mean, gosh darn, how many posts do you have? 1,500 posts. All the way since 2004, you should start a thread. In fact, Ryan, why don't he start a thread on doing that? Say, hey, I just did a podcast with Howard on this, and we'll put the podcast there. Or Ryan can start the thread with this podcast, and then I think
that would be great.
Yeah.
Where do you start the thread?
Where would I start it? I'd put it under which category you think? Would it be under just dental supplies, equipment and supplies? Would you put under equipment and supplies, or that's amalgam burrs, dental supplies, equipment, ergonomic handpiece, new products? It could be under new.
I mean, but it's really for the care of oral appliances.
Well, so Dental Town as good as anyone. Email Hogo and ask him. I mean, he might start. He'll know exactly where to start it, or he'll add a new form or something.
That sounds good.
Do you know Hogo?
Should I do that, or should Ryan do that?
Well, send an email to me, you, and Hogo. I'm Howard at dentaltown.com. He's Howard Goldstein, so he's Hogo at dentaltown.com. And send us a thread because I want to be your biggest fan. I want to do anything I can do to help you. And then if you ever want to write an article for Dental Town, that's Tom Giacobbe. So he's Tom at farranmedia.com. Because I think this is an interesting journey, because the thing I love about this story is how many of my homies are listening to you right now that have had an idea for so many years, but they just set on an idea and they think, well, if this, I could never compete against Colgate and Procter and Gamble or whatever, and you're fearless. That's what I love about you. And you've been a pioneer your whole 30 years. And so much of the things is changing, like sleeping in dentures. You can cure that with something else. The reason they sleep in with their dentures is self-esteem. They're not going to take out their dentures and sleep next to their spouse. Well, you can treat that a different way. Sleep apnea. I mean, even though you're wearing a retainer or you got caught or you're treating sleep apnea, or you don't have sleep apnea, the research is clear. To sleep thoroughly, you don't want to sleep next to a 150-pound Homo sapien, a barking dog, having your TV on, that little light clock, just a little blue light that's telling the time, is freaking out your amygdala and keeping you not going into deep sleep. And then your partner in the middle of the night crawls over you to go to the bathroom, and she's sleeping with her denture in. And what couples are doing in groves, they just don't like to talk about it because it sounds taboo. I mean, if you go to work and say, me and my partner sleep in separate rooms, they think you're having marriage problems. But the bottom line is, like I had this big master bedroom and all that. I don't even use it anymore. I found a little room, put in a bed. There's nothing in there but a bed, blanket. There's no TV, phones, watches, dogs, cats, you know. And God, I slept for years with 3 cats and 4 monkeys in bed. Eric, Greg, Ryan, and Zach. I mean, they were in my bed for a decade. And that's not how you sleep. And that's why they have this periimplantitis and gum disease stuff, because when you're laying next to your lover, especially for women, it's hard for them to take out their teeth and put them in something, and then their self-esteem's not going to do it. So you can start coaching those people, say, well, look, you shouldn't be sleeping in the same room with your husband anyway. You shouldn't have your dentures in your mouth, and you shouldn't be. And some dentists who have balls that drag on the sidewalk are openly talking about this, like Rick Kirshner. I mean, he owns 350 Comfort Dental offices, and he's the first one to say, no, me and my wife, Cindy, we both came to the conclusion, gosh, we always sleep so much better and feel so much better in the morning whenever the other one's out of town or gone. So now you go into their mansion, and they have 2 adjoining bedrooms. But it's just a taboo thing in society to say that. But they shouldn't be sleeping in with their dentures. They're wearing their dentures because they're sleeping next to their husband, and they shouldn't be sleeping with their husband or their dog. And people just say the dumbest things at work. Like you hear them, they'll say, oh, man, I'm so exhausted. Why? Oh, Sammy, he was barking. I swear to God, he was barking all night long, standing on my bed. There was some light going on. And I'm like, why are you sleeping with a barking dog? I mean, do I have to come over there and eat your dog? I mean, can't you put it in the backyard, a kennel? You don't want to be sleeping with a barking dog, because now you feel like shit. You didn't get your rest. You didn't get your rhythms. So sleep hygiene is on the way, and all on 4 is going to be a disaster if they're not taking water picks into the shower with them. But so tell me this.
I want to add one thing, though, about sleeping with the dentures. The reason why it's dangerous to sleep with the dentures is because those dentures are biological sponges, and they're just full of pathogens. As I said, like Candida, strep, staph, actinomyces. I mean, every study has proven that almost 60 or 80% of all dentures within a year are infected with those pathogens. And, just putting them in, an over-the-counter Polident or Fixodent, it's not going to clean it. Whereas if you drop it in the Cleanodent crystals, it will kill the pathogens. And then if they want to sleep in their dentures, fine. But clean those dentures daily.
Yeah, most of my patients, they clean their dentures by when the smoke goes over their dentures. the stuff in the Marlboro kills. I think it kills all that Candida strep. You and I are, you're talking about dentures, removable, all that, but it seems like one of the fastest growing appliances in the world is clear aligners.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, gosh, it's not just grandma and grandpa with dentures. It's clear. Everybody's got clear aligners.
Right now, it seems like there's a removable appliance for everybody. You've got night guards. You've got clear aligners. You've got snoring appliances, sleep apnea appliances. And then you've got the dentures, the partials, and the overdentures. So, yeah, I think that our Cleanodent Crystals is a product for almost everybody.
I gotta talk about listening to your customers. What product I wish you come out with? First of all, this will blow your mind, but the greatest thing about having a monthly column since 1994, having a podcast, is if you say anything and it's wrong, oh my God, does everybody let you know? I remember one time, so when I say something wrong, 40 to 50 people will let me know about it, clear as a bell, which I love, because I think of all these people who are walking around with thoughts in their head that are wrong. And so when you're transparent with your thoughts, You get a really good editing machine. And I used to be jaded. I was on the Arizona Citizens for Better Dental Health. We got fluoride in the water in 1989, but the way they set it up, it expired in 20 years, so we had to go through it again. And the bottom line is 1/4 of Americans think it's a communist plot, it's evil, it's bad, it's horrible. And I listen to these people. They don't want fluoride in their toothpaste either. Well, when you study the research on brushing, dry brushing is just as effective with a denture vise. I mean, when you take a soft bristled toothbrush and brush for 2 minutes, you're removing all the plaque and doing everything that you can. You really there's if 1/4 of the patients aren't going to brush with fluoride in there, well, everybody needs a dentist. Just because you're not taking my advice and doing a root canal, billet crown, and you want an extraction, I still love you. You still need a dentist. My favorite patient is a lady in a wheelchair in an oxygen tank, and she always comes to my office and smokes outside my front door for 5 minutes. She's 5 minutes late to get it. Sometimes I have to walk out there and say, come on, and she's like, let me have one more seg. And it's like, still love her. I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I don't think you're supposed to smoke if you on an oxygen tank. I mean, they didn't cover that in dental school. But the bottom line is, I would come out with an all-natural toothpaste because Uncle Tom's toothpaste violates what they're telling me. They're coming in there and they're saying, well, rule number 1 on anything all natural should be no more than 5 ingredients. And then you look at Uncle Tom's toothpaste, and it's all these chemicals that me as a dentist can't even read and explain. So they know that it's a marketing gimmick. You could do a real all-natural toothpaste because you're a real dentist in the trenches for 30 years, and I wouldn't put fluoride in there. I'd rather them brush with anything than not brush at all. So if they want all natural, you got to come out with a toothpaste 5 ingredients or less. They all have to be words, not chemicals, and there can't be fluoride in there because if they brush with fluoride, they'll have a hammer and sickle tattooed on their forehead and be singing the Karl Marx agenda. So just give them what they want. Have you thought about all natural toothpaste with 5 ingredients or less?
Well, we have quite a few products in the pipeline. And that's why we called it Dental Solutions and not Denture Solutions. And yes, natural toothpaste is in the pipeline. Actually,
and you'd be a marketing dream because you'd be the pitchman for it. You'd be the guy. You'd be the guy from Dallas, the real dentist in the real world, in the real trenches that's done it for 30 years. That's a story any marketing guy will want to get behind. That's why they're always that's why they're always trying to get the owners of these companies to go pitch their product, because that's the real world stuff that if you say your marketing message and they don't secrete dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin, they already know from the University of Chicago, where they have the most Nobel Prizes in economics, that you're not going to sell. So when you're talking to them, you're a human. You could get them to secrete oxytocin, and they'll listen, and they'll trust you, and they'll buy in. And I think Dr. Lorin's all-natural toothpaste would be $1 billion company.
Well, funny you should bring that up. I would like to hear that. But there is a tremendous amount of competition out there. There's a new toothpaste from CVS called Dr. Sheffield's Natural Toothpaste. There was the Tooth and Gum Tonic. There's quite a few of them. But the thing is, my Clean-A-Dent paste could be used as a toothpaste. This is, when you're talking about the evolution of these products, I started, about 20 years ago, and I didn't realize that according to the FDA, anything that has to do with dentures is automatically classified as a medical device. And I didn't know this while I was working on my products. And it's obviously a lot more complicated. It's not like a heart stent or something, but a medical device is more complicated than a cosmetic. But a toothpaste and a mouth rinse, those are considered as cosmetics. And it probably would have been a lot easier for me to get an FDA regulation for the Clean-A-Dent paste as a toothpaste than as a denture and gum paste. In fact, we're going through getting the ADA seal of approval of it right now. They wouldn't give me the ADA seal of approval of it the first time because they said nobody's ever come up with a gum and prosthetic paste. So, yes, you could use the Clean-A-Dent paste as a toothpaste, but it has no fluoride, and it does moisturize. So a lot of people like it, but as a dentist, I still like fluoride. So I haven't come up with a non-fluoride toothpaste.
Well, what are they doing in spas right now? So you don't want chlorine in your pool. So they just go to the periodic table, and that periodic table, here, let me, it's so, if you go to the periodic table, which every time I look at the periodic table, I just think of how much humans don't know, because that table, if that even was half right, it'd be symmetrical. And you can just tell by the shape of the periodic table that we don't know half of what we're talking about. It started off with 4 elements, the Greeks: earth, wind, fire, and water. But you go to that valence shell, fluoride is number 9. Well, right underneath it, in the same row or column, is chlorine. Right underneath that is bromine, then iodine. So what are all the pool marketers doing? Oh, it's a chlorine-free swimming pool. What do? They just use bromine. And so you could go, so the deal is, anything in that column is going to be going to do the job. So would you, if you don't want fluorine, could you do chlorine? Could you do bromine? Could you do iodine? I mean, I don't know. They for all we know, they romantically love iodine because their mom used to put it on their wound when they were little. Who knows? But
I don't know.
But have you seen those bromine pools now? These bromine systems?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I've seen
the pool. Well, I'm in
system.
Phoenix, where if you don't have a swimming pool, you're basically living in hell. And there was just a huge market of people that decided they don't like chlorine. They don't want chlorine. So it's like, fine, we'll just go down a row, and it's now bromine, and they love it. And they say things, and I've had several people tell me it's all natural. I don't understand what all natural means. When they talk about all natural, are they talking about HIV or AIDS? Are they talking about black holes or supernovas? I mean, why is natural? Whenever someone says it's all natural, I'm like, as opposed to what? I mean, so, I mean, it's 93 elements on the periodic table, and bromine is natural, but chlorine is not? Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm starting to think at 55 years old that I might be the only normal person on Earth. People just seem to be getting crazier and crazier the older I get. Have you noticed this phenomena?
I remember hearing just the other day, 2 old cockers. I think I was one of them. I said everybody's crazy but us.
So if some dentist listened to you with an idea, I mean, what did you do? Did you hire a chemist? Did you find a lab? I mean, how does a guy go from being the top cosmetic dentist in Dallas? I mean, I've seen you lecture on so many cosmetic programs. Hell, you were the first fellow of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. How'd you do that to making denture paste?
Well, first, I was the first fellow in the Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry because when I knew they were going to do a fellow, I said, I better do it before it gets too hard. And I did. And I didn't want to take any chances. And it's very hard now to be a fellow. And anyway, it was just something that was on my mind, and I just started working on it. First working on it, in my office, in the lab, playing with different solutions. Then I realized, I can't do this at home. Then I started finding labs, local labs, wasted a lot of time, a lot of money. Didn't even realize that I had to have medical grade labs and FDA approved labs for these things, and medical grade labs. That's part of what took 18 years. Plus, we were always trying it with our patients. But yeah, if I knew then what I know now, of course, it would have been a lot easier.
Right.
And a lot cheaper and a lot faster.
So what should my homies do? They go to your website, drbdentalsolutions.com. What do you think? What would you recommend that they should get first for their own self-interest of building their patient base, their practice? What do you think they should start buying and dispensing that would make their patients be happier?
Well, it all really depends on what they're doing. In my practice, I was big on giveaways. I always thought, the secret to my success was what I gave away, because people don't really care what you know; they just want to know how much you care. And I'm also a person, and I'm a patient, and I know that the doctors who give me stuff, I just tend to like them more because I figure they like me because they're giving me stuff, and I use it. So I would suggest that if you're doing a lot of removable appliance, whether it's clear aligners or dentures or sleep appliances, you probably want to stock up on the Cleanodent crystals and the sonic cleaners. If you're doing a lot of dentures, then I would recommend that you get the whole denture pack, which is the Cleanodent crystals, the sonic cleaner, the denture adhesive, and Cleanodent paste. And if you're doing basically all on fours, you probably want to get the Cleanodent paste. And by the way, you're totally right that everybody who has an all on four, they have to have a water pick. And I have talked to so many dentists in the last year, way more than I ever have. And I can't believe how many dentists are doing all on fours, and they're not giving them water picks. They're just saying, go out and buy a water pick. I mean, you're charging $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 an arch. Give them a water pick. And, if you're going to do a night guard, give them, sonic cleaners. Make them feel special.
So what is that sonic cleaner? It's $15.95. It's an ultrasonic agitator. You put the appliance in there and the crystals, right, and then it's going to...
They're battery operated. Now, those are the retail prices. On the website, everything you see are, retail prices. We have...
Well, I can't believe you can make a sonic cleaner and put it in a box and sell it for $15.95. I mean, that is a low price.
Well, basically we want them to use it, and we want them to use the crystals, and we want them to, feel the difference. But the crystals work perfectly well as far as killing the pathogens without the sonic cleaner. The sonic cleaner is to mechanically debride the appliance.
But what about you list all the things it kills? You don't mention HPV though.
No, we haven't tested it for HPV.
Because that's the big deal. I mean, with the oral cancer and the HPV and all that stuff, are you thinking about testing it for HPV?
Well, boy, you're so right on top of things. We are right now working on a new formulation for the crystals. I can't talk too much about it, but yes, we'll be checking for HPV on that.
Yeah, because I mean that's just the big deal. I mean it's really a big deal, HPV. And I'm surprised. I mean, that's growing 30% a year, and it's still not making the news.
But for all I know, the Cleanodent crystals, they may kill the HPV. We just haven't done the testing.
Yeah.
There was some complication, and like I said, it's just me and my son, and sometimes things go over our heads.
So I work...
But it's definitely on board for our new formulation.
So how do you like working with your son?
It's been a blast.
No, I know. I only work for two people.
How do you like working with your son?
Well, my first job was with my dad at a Sonic drive-in from 10 to 20, and that was my favorite boss. I mean, and then the next 30 years, I've only worked for me, and then my each one of my sons worked for me for about 2 years. Rainer, you finished 2 years?
2 years, 7 months.
He said his therapist said 2 years and 7 months. And is that your therapy? But I love it. I mean, God dang it, you love it. I mean, we tell all these dentists that the smartest thing they can do when they get out of school is find a mentor. Like I always say, don't get in an airplane and fly across the United States and have some guy teach you implants. I mean, you're in Dallas. You can't find one periodontist or oral surgeon to teach that for free at his office because half of them are going to think in fear and say, get out of here. Just send the case to me. And the other half are going to say, oh, I'd love to take on a little kid and mentor him on implants, and now you got a buddy, you got a guy that can bail you out. It's all about mentors, and there's nothing more exciting than mentoring your own son.
Well, I would say he's mentoring me.
well, you're mentoring. I mean, yeah, it's a two-way street. I mean, I don't know any of the stuff that Ryan does on the technology, the video editing. I mean, he's my full-time IT director. He's taught me so much IT, but it's a two-way street. I mean, you're teaching him, about people, and he's teaching you about new stuff. But it's great. Here I am, 55. My dad died in 1999, and now it's 2018. So he's almost been dead 19 years, and I don't think I ever go 2 days without saying, my old man, he would have done this, or he would have said this, or I'll just say, what would Dad have done? And I tell Ryan all the time, I said, 20 years after I'm dead, you'll still be thinking, oh, Dad would have done this, or Dad said that. I mean, I just think it's so damn cool.
And you're a lucky guy.
I think family businesses are the bomb. Did you ever work with your father?
Oh, sure.
Did you like it?
He had a paint store, and I used to drive a truck and do deliveries and do painting for him. I also sold beer at all the ball games in Chicago. That was a major job of mine.
Oh, so
Cubs, Sox, Bulls, Hawks.
So you were born and raised in Dallas then? You were born and raised in Chicago?
Oh, yeah. I got to Texas when I graduated from dental school. I knew I didn't know anything. I knew enough about dentistry from, working in a dental practice and working in a dental lab to know that in 1981 I knew nothing. So I applied to a general practice residency in San Antonio, which was pretty rare then. I wanted to go to New Mexico because I liked the license plate, Land of Enchantment, but they didn't have any residency programs there. So I applied to the ones in Texas. And I got into the one in San Antonio because the director was a big fan of home run pizza in Chicago. And he says, if you bring me a home run pizza, I'll give you an interview. So I brought him, in those days you didn't ship. I went to Home Run. It was right by Comiskey Park. I wrapped it up in tin foil. I stuck it in the freezer. And then I flew to San Antonio with it. So anyway, I ended up loving Texas. And I stayed in San Antonio after the residency for another 6 months, but nothing was really going for me career-wise, and I thought I'd go back to Chicago. And on my way back to Chicago, it's like Christmas time. I thought I'd be back in Chicago for Christmas. My car broke down, and a friend of mine from high school was living in Dallas. And, I said, can you pick me up? I got to get my car fixed. And one thing led to another. It was like 70 degrees in Dallas. It was like 0 degrees in Chicago. And I just ended up staying in Dallas. I was working in all these clinics. Dentists these days have a lot of safeties. Tuition is crazy for them. You know what they're paying in tuition and what the debt. But they do have a lot of safeties. I mean, they can go to work for corporate dentistry. Back in 1982, 83, we didn't have those things. I was just working in crummy clinics. I would come in at 4 o'clock and work at night for an hourly wage. I'd work Saturdays. I'd work Sundays for like $17 an hour back then. And then after a couple of years, I ended up, somehow I met a guy at a party. I fixed his front teeth. He was a banker. He hooked me up with a realtor, and I ended up opening up in downtown Dallas, and I stayed there for 35 years. Same building. I moved twice, and I expanded 3 times.
So basically, I think one of the reasons this podcast is so successful is because these young kids like to hear people like you and me who've been out of the door 30 years. What advice would you give to a young kid? Because they're thinking, Lorin, do you think you and Howard graduated in the golden years? You guys graduated with $50,000 in debt. Now we're graduating with $500,000 in debt. There's all these new dental schools opening up. The class sizes are big. Like when I came to Phoenix, there was no fluoride in the water and no dental schools. Now there's fluoridated water, and Glendale is graduating 200 dentists a year, and A.T. Still in Mesa is graduating like 70 a year. So every single year you throw another 250 dentists into the same town. Do you think the golden years are still here? Do you think they've gone down significantly? And what advice would you give to some kid who just graduated from school and she's 25 and she's got $300,000 student loans? What would you tell her?
Don't be in a hurry. It's a tortoise race, dentistry. I would say really do your best. Your job is taking care of your patients. And if you take care of your patients and do your best, you'll do fine. But it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, so it all comes down to customer service, doesn't it? The patient, the relationships. I mean, if you talk to your patients, you connect with them, and you really try hard to be your best. So what advice would you give them to be their best? I mean, they come out of school. I know what they're going to say. I read their emails every day. Thank you for sending me emails to howard@dentaltown.com. Thanks for subscribing to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Dentaltown Magazine. But they come out and they say, Lorin, look, man, we never did an Invisalign case. We never placed an implant. We never did a sleep apnea. And I can't do it all at once. So they come out of school. What would you recommend? Would you recommend they do a residency? Would you, is any of them more lucrative than the other, like implants versus Invisalign versus sleep apnea versus all these plethora of things that they see about?
Well, dentists have been successful at all those things. I think you have to find what you like and really focus on that. And you always have to be customer service oriented. You can't be everything. I definitely think that you should, a solo practitioner though, that's kind of on the way out, I think. I ran a group practice for at least 20, if not 25 years of the 35 years as I had my own practice, and I should have added another dentist a lot sooner. I think it's very important for a dentist to work together. I mean, like, with Dentaltown, no dentist practices alone. I really don't think a dentist should practice alone. It's too hard. When you're talking about customer service, you've got to be available all the time. I think that weekend appointments are crucial to success in private practice. And no dentist can do that. I think a dentist needs vacations. A dentist needs time off for various reasons. I think that a dentist right now should be thinking about joining with another dentist, and they can combine their strengths. Somebody likes to do implants, somebody likes to do endo, somebody likes to do cosmetics. Share your strengths.
I'm going to throw you under a bus right now. Are you excited? So you are a legendary cosmetic dentist. I've seen you give presentations. I mean, really, you are. A lot of people are saying that they can do all of that with a CEREC machine, making veneers. Can you do what you do in Dallas when you were being a cosmetic dentist? Can you veneers, chairside milling as opposed to lab made?
Well, I haven't practiced now in almost 2 years, and the technology has certainly improved. I do know
2 years or 10 years?
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Actually, I haven't practiced in about a year and a half.
Okay, well, nothing's changed in a year and a half. You're good.
Oh, okay. Well, a year and a half ago, I certainly couldn't do anything with a CEREC. I didn't have a CEREC machine in my practice. I know that there's some people who are really terrific with it, and maybe they could, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, did you hear that, guys? Did you hear that? Can you repeat that? I mean, because when they're in dental school, all the DSOs come in and tell them the sky's falling and they better get a job with the DSO because everyone else is going under. And it's just fear and scarcity. That's the only message they get. That's why I love this podcast, Fight Back. And they keep hearing all these people who actually sell machines tell them what they need. But the kids are telling me, Lorin, if I got $300,000 student loans, if I come out and buy a CEREC machine, a Millennium laser, and a CBCT, should I just double my student loan debt? So
I don't advise you buy any of those things.
I know. So it's really weird. They think, marketing is so good in dentistry, and dentists are so isolated. They really feel they have to make these big purchase decisions. And I say, God dang. And I also tell them that condoms prevent minivans, and that it costs about $216,000 to raise a child. So if you already got $216,000 student loans, you already have your first kid. So, don't have, 7 or 8 and live in a shoe. I mean, each one, a kid's $250,000. So if you're really worried about your $250,000 student loan, just reframe it different. Realize it's just the cost of one kid, and it's at least 1/4 the cost of your up-and-coming divorce.
Well, I tell every young dentist, listen to Dentaltown. Read Dentaltown and listen to the podcast. Because I think that, no dentist coming out of dental school should saddle themselves with that kind of debt for technology that they don't know how to use and they have no reason to use. They don't even have the patience.
Well, I don't get it. I mean, my lab man up the street from me is as old as me, and it's probably, how many crowns do you think a lab man has made in 30 years?
I have no idea, but a lot.
Yeah, so now you go buy a $150,000 chairside miller and have your assistant who's never made a crown start milling out your crowns. What was your next best idea? To have Stevie Wonder do it? Or Ray Charles. And all that for all that money.
And it's not even the money. How about the learning curve?
Right, I tell them it's like buying a grand piano. The
learning curve is, education is expensive.
And if you buy a Steinway piano, best piano made, you're still not Beethoven. You're gonna have to put in 10,000 hours to be able to play that damn Steinway. So
and you've got to have the patience to do the work on.
Yeah.
So you got to take one step at a time.
So what I did is I bought that playing piano, and so I don't have to play it. I want to read you.
I have to say though, conceptually, the CEREC is a great idea, and I know dentists who use it and love it and do a fantastic job with it.
Right.
But by the same token, I see a lot of dentists that felt obligated to buy one, and they weren't ready for it.
So I want to ask you questions on Dentaltown. How would you answer this topic? Guy writes, Canada of the lip. How to treat which cream is effective? How would you answer that question?
Well, we always used in my office Michelob or Nystatin ointment.
Do any of your products treat that?
Well, they treat it in preventing it. Because a lot of times people, well, you can get candida in the corners of the mouth, angulochelosis, from any kind of irritation, from cracked lips, from acidic foods, any antibiotics, anything that will upset the topography and the normal flora of the mouth. Or if you always have an infected denture. So our products would help prevent that by reducing the dry mouth and by killing the candida if you wear an oral appliance.
And I also want to tell the young kids, when you're listening to anybody's predictions on anything, including mine, when Lorin and I got out of school, they told us that dentures would become extinct. I mean, they told us removable dentures is a dying art. And now I've been out of school 30 years, and they do more dentures today than they did in 1987. And if you ever come out to Arizona, if you drove down to the Mexican border, Nogales, Arizona, is a denture lab, and then all the cases are driven across the border into this lab. They cast 1,000 partial frameworks a day.
I don't doubt it at all.
Removable is going nowhere. I want to ask you another.
Removable is exploding. I mean, you've got to remember, the first cosmetic dentistry was dentures. All of the stars in the 30s and 40s, they all wore dentures. Frank Sinatra dedicated the continuing education auditorium at NYU to his dentist, who always made sure that he had spare dentures and was always prepared and never embarrassed. So nowadays,
Frank
dentures
Sinatra
are
had dentures?
That's what I heard. That's what I always heard. That's why he dedicated the auditorium to the dentist. I can't remember his name.
Is that NYU?
NYU.
Where 7% of all the dentists in America graduate from NYU.
It's unbelievable.
But that's true, because the only way you could have movie star teeth in the 50s was to pull them all and do dentures.
And 30s, and before then. So nowadays, you can't go around with missing teeth or really ugly teeth. So I think that there's a big explosion of removable prosthetics, whether it's dentures, partials. And don't forget, the biggest market for denture wearers are the people who already have dentures. Most denture wearers, their dentures are 15, 20 years old, and they're not going to the dentist, they're going to the drugstore. I think it's up to the dental profession right now to really educate the public. I mean, everybody knew about porcelain veneers, but nobody knows about Fernaras or the new Vita or the Kulzer denture teeth or the new frames or digital dentures, which are stronger and less porous. I mean, there is so many reasons to get those denture wearers out of the drugstore and into the dental office for new dentures, over dentures, or the all-on-4. So I think that the public... and the thing is, the other thing is, denture wearers don't talk about their dentures typically. So people don't know how many denture wearers there are. But no, the denture market, I think, is exploding.
And you know who they do talk to about their denture, about all these denture adhesives and cleaners? You know who they do talk about it the most?
No.
When they're all alone at Walgreens or CVS. And I have had, Ryan, how many, I practice odontology, how many pharmacists, DOs, physicians have been in my house at my dining room table in the last 6 months? 50. I mean, these dentists are introverts. They think marketing is all direct mail or a Facebook ad. You know what real marketing is? Inviting the pharmacist, smoozing, pressing the flesh. My dad told me, he said, when you get out of school, he says, Howie, all you got to do for marketing is pretend like you're running for mayor. Just keep getting out there, shaking hands, pressing the flesh.
It's a popularity contest. I always said in my office, It's like running for class president every day.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
And those MDs think they're...
And it never stops.
The MDs think they walk on water, and they treat the pharmacists horribly, and then you're over there saying, hey, buddy, let's go to dinner. Come on, we're in Ahwatukee. We only got a couple of restaurants. You want to go to Bob Benny's? You want to go to Fleming's? Or you want to come to my house where we can charcoal hamburgers and get toxically drunk? And then for the next 30 years, when someone says, what denture adhesive do you recommend? He says, well, I know Howard across the street. They say, oh, he likes this. Or when they come up to a toothache, they say, does this Amisol works? Does Amisol work? You need to go across the street. You need to see Howard. Here's his card. You know, he calls it Today's Dental. You know why he calls it Today's Dental? Because you don't need an appointment when you have an emergency at the hospital. When you're having an emergency, you go straight to the emergency room. That's why he named it Today's Dental. Don't ask me that. Just walk across the street, walk right in there, tell Howard Brad sent you. And doing that with chiropractors, naturopaths. The MDs are the hardest ones to get to go to dinner. They're so in a different world. But the chiropractors, the naturopaths, somewhat the dermatologists and ophthalmologists, but all the opticians will. But the more dinner, when people say, what's your best marketing program? I say eating cheeseburgers, watching football games, and drinking beers with all the other healthcare providers in your damn city.
I hope everybody's listening to you, because I remember listening to you at a tape, gosh, in the late 90s, and you were talking about how accessibility is marketing number one. And you were so right. I mean, when somebody calls, we try to get them in immediately. They wanted a Saturday appointment? Sure. And, we'd even do Sundays. We'd do whatever it took to get them in.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question on Dental Town. This is, you're not going to believe.
Oh, I'll tell you another thing that I did regularly when I practiced, besides, approaching all the pharmacists and all the different doctors and chiropractors, I went to all the hotels, the local hotels, and I would always meet with the concierge and always made sure that I was on their Rolodex. Any emergency, send them over.
And you know who has the biggest flaw? You know who the first probably 6 out of 6 upper 10 veneers I did after I went to LVI with Dickerson back when it was with Rosenthal and all those guys. You know who my first 6 were?
No.
The Lutheran ministers, the church ministers. I would just say to them, I'd say, you know what? You're up there lecturing to a flock of people that's big. I said, if you love your teeth, that's great. But if you want movie star teeth, I'll do yours for free. And they said, are you serious to do this for free? How many, and you know who came in? You know who sat out there and thought, oh my God, Pastor got new teeth. He's so sexy. I want them. It was all 70, 80-year-old women. I thought when I was learning veneers that you would be learning how to do this on like Russian supermodels who are 20 years old. And then I went and spent a couple days with Larry Rosenthal in his office, and that's when I got re-educated. 20-year-olds are already hot, and they don't have any money.
Right.
You know who pays?
And they don't need it. It's when they're getting...
Oh, yeah. It's all 70 and 80-year-old women. And when Larry says, I swear to God, if I do veneers to an 80-year-old woman, he'll grab her by the cheek, he'll kiss her on the forehead. I said, oh, my God, if I do veneers on you, you won't look a day over 65. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, sign me up. And there they are writing him a check. And I would do those pastors, and so many people would say, oh, my God, who did your teeth? Oh, Howard Farran, right? That Today's Dental. Well, how better of an endorsement can you get than from the preacher in your own town?
I agree. I remember, about 25 years ago, I did a set of veneers on a very prominent psychiatrist in Dallas. She was one of the first women psychiatrists in the country. And I remember, and I met her through, networking through other healthcare professionals. She was referred.
You were her patient. Just say it. Just admit it. You were on the couch.
No, she wouldn't even take me. I was too crazy. But after I fixed her teeth, and she loved it, she said to me, she says, I've got to tell you, I'm 70 years old, and there's nothing that a person my age could do to improve their appearance more than fixing their teeth. She says, anything else I do, I look ridiculous. But good-looking teeth always look good. And it's true. I mean, the real market for dentistry are the people over 50.
Yeah. I mean, it was Larry Rosenthal. I credit for that. I never realized the market for beauty is, I mean, who has all the money? I mean, I always say to Americans, describe the demographics of an American worth $100 million. And they always describe some man who owns a factory with a suit and tie who's 60 years old. I said, no, guy, he died. His widow got the money. She put it in the bond market. It's been accruing interest. And almost every woman, every person in America who's worth $100 million is an 80-year-old widow. And they have all the flipping money. And so you don't tell a 25-year-old she needs veneers and Invisalign. You tell grandma. And grandma, you're right, she doesn't want, when she's, many of those surgeries look crazy, but teeth are one of them. And they it's very, very.
And they not just look good, they make them feel better. They eat better. It's a wonderful thing.
So this is seriously a real question on Dinnertown. Topic, denture in the dishwasher. I had a patient put me on my heels the other day by asking me if she could put her dentures through the dishwasher. How could I not know the answer to this question? So, is it safe to put them in the dishwasher? If not, what will happen? I assume the answer would be the same for ortho retainers and OCC guards. Thanks. How would you answer that question?
Well, the heat isn't good for them. It could cause distortion, and the dishwasher soap is a little too abrasive and could chemically damage the appliance.
You want to know the best dishwasher advice I can give you? Seriously, I did this. I had a guy come in. This friend of mine taught me this. You put in a second. You know how a dishwasher, you either got to load it or unload it, right? And then so what you do is you have two dishwashers. So when one's done, you just get your shit out of that dishwasher. And when stuff's dirty, you put it in the dirty one. So it's just going from this one's clean to this one's dirty. But really, from an operations and time deal, I mean, don't you love the second dishwasher?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my God.
I love my second dishwasher.
So you use two dishwashers too?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I just took me 55 years to learn that trick. But my God, two dishwashers. Talk about
I grew up without it. I didn't get my first dishwasher until I think 1990.
You didn't get your first dishwasher until 1990?
I was dishwasher.
Yeah. But seriously, Lorin, my gosh, we lecture on so many of those. I remember always seeing you at all the Ivaclair meetings, the AACD lectures. You've been an amazing mentor of mine for 30 years.
You've been my hero. I remember the first time I met you was at an Ivaclair retreat in 1998 in Orlando, and I had already seen you lecture like 3 times, and I heard your various interviews and tapes, and I have to say you've made a monster impact on my dentistry. I don't think I could have retired at 60 without your influence.
Well, maybe we should start a mutual admiration club, and we'll be the only 2 members. And we'll just meet, and I'll admire you, and you admire me.
Oh, I also remember when I met you at a meeting in 2004, and you said, "Why aren't you on Dentaltown?" I didn't know just how great it was. He says, "Get on Dentaltown. You'll find your best friends on Dentaltown." I've been on Dentaltown ever since.
Yeah, and thank you for your 1,500 amazing answers. I mean, you've been educating all of us since 2004. I mean, you're a sharer. I love our profession. I love the fact there's so many people that are so willing to help their other homies. And so don't let it.
Well, you made it all possible.
Well, thank you for that. And thanks for coming on the show. Let me know anything I can do to help you. Ryan, send an email to Hogo, me, and Ryan. We'll put this podcast up. We'll start a thread. If you need an article in Dental Time, whatever I can do to help my buddy, let me know.
Whatever you can do, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I'm here. I want to be your.
You have the ears and eyes of more dentists than anyone in the world, I think.
Well,
of course you do. You have to.
Well, yeah. If you own a dental media company, you should. I mean, it shouldn't be the guy across the street. I mean,
people pay more attention to you than they do to the dental journals. Well, except Dentaltown.
Except Dentaltown. There you go. Well, again, thank you so much. What's your son's name?
Jean-Paul.
Jean-Paul.
But everybody calls him JP.
JP. Well, I can't wait to meet him. I hope you guys enjoy each other, mentor him well, and I hope you have a rocking hot day.
You too. Thank you so much. Thanks, Howard. Thanks, Ryan.
Do you have a denture and suffer from dry mouth? Well, you're not alone. In fact, millions of people across the U.S. suffer from dry mouth, and it is a serious problem for people with dentures and implant dentures. Dry mouth, also known as xerostomia, can be caused by a range of factors including age, habits, medication, and illness. Dentures and implant dentures make it worse because the foreign object in your mouth can disrupt normal saliva production, and typical denture adhesives will further dry out the mouth. But why is spit so important anyway? Aside from the immediate discomfort caused by dry mouth, saliva plays an essential role in your overall health. Saliva is crucial for ingesting food. It reduces irritation and sore spots, and is important in the prevention of diseases like oral thrush from candida, stomatitis, and angular cheilitis. As one of the most published authors in clinical dentistry, Dr. Berland has seen this firsthand. After more than 35 years of treating and listening to patients, Dr. Berland has developed a line of unique products that address the specific needs of people with oral appliances. Clean-A-Dent Paste is the only cleansing paste specifically formulated with time-tested remedies combined with a powerful cleanser to moisturize the mouth and reduce gum irritation. Clean-A-Dent Paste is also the only cleanser that is gentle enough to be used on both the gums and oral appliances, making it ideal for fixed implant dentures which can be damaged by normal toothpaste, making them lose their shine and color. And if you have a removable denture or partial, try Adhesident, the only denture adhesive that moisturizes the mouth with vitamins and aloe vera while providing a strong, long-lasting hold. Though Adhesident is easier to clean than other adhesives, brush it off with the Clean-A-Dent paste in seconds and enjoy how good your mouth feels. For more tips and resources on your oral health, please visit us online and benefit from special offers. We look forward to seeing you there.
Did you know that using a toothbrush and toothpaste on oral appliances actually makes them less clean? In fact, millions of people across the US have infected appliances and many don't even know it. Dentures, mouthguards, retainers, and sleep apnea devices are softer than regular teeth, so using a toothbrush with toothpaste to clean them is actually too abrasive and will scratch the appliance. These microscopic scratches can result in a visible difference in shine and color and create an environment where bacteria thrive. The most common infections are Candida albicans and Streptococcus. Candida is a fungal yeast infection of the mouth that is responsible for a range of nasty conditions, like oral thrush, stomatitis, and loss of taste. Gross! Clinical research has found that almost all appliances will develop Candida with usage over time if they're not cleaned properly. Older populations and denture wearers are especially at risk. This is a big problem because none of the major cleansing brands kill pathogens like Candida and Strep. They only claim to kill odor-causing bacteria and take all night to soak. Ain't nobody got time for that. Fortunately, now there's a solution. Clean-A-Dent Crystals is the only over-the-counter cleanser that can remove tough stains and kill pathogens like Candida and Strep on any oral appliance. The powerful cleansing agents in the Clean-A-Dent Crystals work in just 20 minutes and never include abrasive materials like bleach and chlorine that damage oral appliances. The Clean-A-Dent Crystals are most effective when used in a sonic cleaner, a unique denture bath that uses high-frequency sonic waves to provide a deep clean on a microscopic level. Together, these products can totally eliminate any stains, odors, or infections from your appliances. I would not want to put those things in my mouth. Dr. B Dental Solutions is a brand you can trust because it was created by a dentist after over 35 years of treating and listening to patients. Dr. Berland is one of the most published authors on clinical dentistry and has been featured as a thought leader for the dental field in major national TV and publications like Time, GQ, and 2020. He was even recognized for lifetime achievement by the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry.
When you use an oral appliance, the only way to maintain a healthy mouth and avoid infection is by developing a strong oral hygiene system, which includes the right products. Clinical research has proven that the best way to clean an oral appliance is by soaking it with a packet of Clean-A-Dent crystals in a sonic cleaner for at least 20 minutes. Never use a toothbrush or a toothpaste on your oral appliance. I started my career as a denture technician 40 years ago, and I've seen the long-term risks people face when they use oral appliances. The right hygiene routine from day one can help everyone avoid a lot of problems later on. And everyone likes a bright, healthy smile.
The Clean-A-Dent crystals and sonic cleaner are available online at drbdentalsolutions.com. Please enter promo code DRB for special discounts and offers. Our website is a great source of knowledge on a range of oral health topics, including candida, dry mouth, and many more. Thanks. We look forward to seeing you there.